voice of the enemy constantly strikes fear in the heart of the believer. And when you're afraid of God, what are you going to do? You're not going to pursue someone that you're afraid of. You're going to flee. You're going to run. And so rather than pursuing the presence of God, we run from God, because the picture that we have of God in our mind and in our heart is one that would strike us down if we were to approach him, that wants nothing to do with us. In fact, this version of God that we often have in our heads is a version of God that sounds something like this: once you get it together, then come talk to me. Once you get all this figured out, then come talk to me. And what happens is we find ourselves away from the presence of God. We find ourselves fleeing from this God as Spirit-filled believers, avoiding his presence because we're afraid that his presence ultimately will equal our rejection. Can I speak to somebody today and tell you that that is nothing but the lying voice of the enemy who is trying to condemn you and make you believe that your loving Father wants nothing to do with you? That is not the case, though. There is a God whose arms are wide open, who went as far to send his only Son to a cross to bleed and die and be born again so that you and I might have life that otherwise would be inaccessible. The cross is proof that God wants relationship with you and I today. His presence is accessible. You say, I'm broken. Perfect. Run to him. Yeah, but I'm hurting. Perfect. Run to him. Yeah, but I've been disobedient. Perfect. Run to him, because he's merciful, and his presence, in his presence, there's fullness of joy. There's life forevermore in this room today.